Hey, good evening. This is week 9 in the league where they pay for play. Pro Football Week 9, our review show. And I must say, me and the little guy, we're having a splendid of days. Great day to be alive. Very, very thankful. We always got our jokes and our little side stuff going on. And this is what we consider one of them dog weeks of the NFL as usual. Week 7, week 6 to about week 11, it's just some weird things that happens in the NFL. A lot of teams, and I always say, they start thinking about them Cancun vacations real early. They start packing it in. Some teams start eating their cheese, eating the press headlines of what they think their team is, and a lot of people get reality checks. So Dwayne, right off the bat, man, first game of the day.
Dallas Cowboys got manhandled. They got beat in every facet of the game. They seemed at times uninterested, but I'm not gonna put that say it like that because then that would be taken away from what the Denver Broncos and Vic Fangio did defensively. Folks, this is NFL, man. 17-game season. You're gonna have some stinkers in there, and boy, this was a stinker. Um, Again, dominated in every facet. Had nothing to do with Dak Prescott's calf. Little bit of arrogance, in my opinion, with some of this going for fourth down. But if you watch NFL football these days, and even today, coaches are going for it on fourth downs, and some of them in their own territory, like Kansas City. We'll get to that later. But not much more you could say. 30-16, two late touchdowns. Player of the game for the Cowboys was Malik Turner. Two touchdown receptions and a block punt. Let me tell you something, folks. When you're down 16 nothing and you get a big stop to start the second half and you block a punt and it somehow travels beyond the line of scrimmage and hits one of your players, it's not your day.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to the old Leon Let play back years ago, how we lost the possession and how everybody always say, oh, Leon Let messed up. No, he didn't mess up. The ball just happened to touch him, so Miami was able to re-kick the kick, and that's how they won in the last game that Jimmy Johnson ever coached. The last game that he ever lost as a Cowboy coach.
Mhm.
I thought the game was very interesting. You know me, I'm always the optimistic one when we're on the phone talking. They just looked at stale. They looked at like they were stuck in quicksand. Um, I know that we don't know what goes on with a lot of stuff, but in the eyes of the players, they just looked like they were all stunned. It's like something was going on, like they were all preoccupied with something else.
I think they were
Uncharacteristic drops by CD Lamb and Cooper. When you
Pollard too.
if you said to me that the Cowboys receivers, the starting receivers would have two catches apiece, you would think that Zeke Elliott must have ran for 300 something yards, but that even wasn't the case. They just had a bad game all around. I know that in the stats, it's going to say that Michael Parsons had 3 sacks as a rookie, but as he said, he just bought a new puppy. It's not a good day. He's just gonna go home and cuddle with his puppy. And I can't blame him because that loss is the type of loss where everybody need to hide and be ashamed of themselves. You don't even
Yeah.
look at the game film. You just say, "Let's prep for the Atlanta Falcons on Wednesday."
And JB,
But
you're right. You got a great comment there, JB. You're right in the comments. They didn't show up to play today.
as
Yeah, I
far
mean,
as far as Denver, it's kind of funny because I've been talking about Noah Fant and Teddy all year long, and Noah Fan didn't play today. But I'm just happy for Teddy. I mean, I'm upset that they my team
I'm
lost, but I'm just always going to
I'm
be happy
not.
for
I
Teddy
don't care
Bridgewater
nothing
because
about Teddy Two Gloves today. It's like the comment that we got from JB. JB is 100% right. This team didn't show up today. Thank you for commenting on the show. We appreciate everybody that joins us. You know, like, subscribe, and share. It's the only way it's gonna grow.
move right
So,
along, Dwayne.
huh?
I said move right along.
Yeah. So Cleveland Browns take it to the Cincinnati Bengals 41-16. Just when we thought the Bengals were ready for prime time, they've had back-to-back losses and they fall to 5-4. Cleveland moves up to 5-4. They still alive, still very game. And Baker Mayfield had a good game. You know, didn't do anything to hurt his team. 14 to 21, 218, two touchdowns. Strong running game with Nick Chubb, 14 for 137. And very nice win on the road for Cleveland.
I think that's a good win for Cleveland. They needed it. A lot of stuff going on with their franchises, but at the end of the day, it's going to be. What's funny about Cleveland is what we always say. They're probably going to be a better team without ODB there. Just something about him and his mixture with these quarterbacks and these injuries last couple of years, and good riddance for him. The Bengals, tough loss, man. They had their division kind of like in a big stronghold after they had already beat Baltimore, but now they done let two teams back into the race. Well, Baltimore was going to be there regardless, but they done basically let Cleveland back in the door. So going
And the
forward,
crazy,
that NFC, that AFC North is going to be very interesting because you can't count out Mike Tomlin.
right.
Um, they're gonna fight every week, so it's gonna be
It's
interesting going
crazy.
forward.
It should be interesting going forward. We'll see. Joe Burrow, not a great day, but he's a young quarterback. The future's bright there. Um, in a game that didn't really move the radar, the needle, not 1 second. Dolphins 17-9 over the Texans, and that's all I have on that game.
There's nothing I can do with that. It's I mean, unfortunately, last year's sleeper team, me and Dwayne both picked Miami. We don't have nothing for that. Nothing about them this year. Just nothing. And the
Not
Texans,
good.
they just happen to be the 32nd team in the NFL.
Uh, Atlanta improves to 4-4. They beat the Saints 27-25. And when you think about it, Simeon didn't play that bad. He's 25 of 41, 249, two touchdowns, zero interceptions. Um, Saints defense really didn't show up today, which is odd to say. Usually they're strong defense, especially at home. And the Falcons, Matty Ice, man, 343, which scares me as a Cowboy fan because he was hot today. Does he carry that into next week? Two touchdowns. They only got 34 yards on the ground. 25 carries, 34 yards. So it was Matty Ice. He led the Falcons to a big road victory,
Um,
27-25.
what's happening in that division is the Saints and Atlanta and Carolina is beating each other up, and Tampa Bay basically done got so much of a big cushion in the division. So now these teams are just gonna knock each other off. I watched the Atlanta game. You watched the Atlanta game a couple weeks ago as well. I'm really impressed with them. I don't know what it is. I know that they don't have the explosiveness offense no more, and Calvin Ridley's not there. They got Patterson as their starting running back, which is interesting. I just think they're a well coached team. They don't really make a lot of mistakes like the old Atlanta teams used to be. Their defense just is not as poor as well as they were the last couple of years. I just think that the coach is trying to really build something. Hopefully they take a L next week. We'll just move along, man. Saints big loss for what they're trying to do. The Saints really impressed everybody last week with that big win, and then to come back and just have a gut wrenching loss the way they lost today was just bad.
Yeah. Giants beat the Raiders at home 23-16. Las Vegas falls to 5-3. Giants improved to 3-6. This was all about defense. It was the big blue defense that did it. McKinney had two picks, one that he returned for a touchdown. The Raiders were driving late. with an opportunity to tie this game up deep in Giants territory. Blindside hit on David Carr and he fumbled it, and it was recovered by McKinney. So Giants with an optimistic, say that fast a couple of times, defense, and they come out with a big win at MetLife.
Honestly, best game McKinney has had since he's been in the NFL. He wasn't even starting last year. Jabril was starting, getting most of all his playing time, which is interesting because now, if I'm correct, both of their contracts are going to be up towards the end of the year. So now you got one playing well and he's up for a contract, and the other one you haven't been playing and he's up for a contract. Um, I think the Raiders were due. Road game, a lot of stuff with the organization with Ruggs and everything. Um, so it's a tough loss for them. Also with the Giants, I mean 3-6. They just trying to just see where they're at when they're healthy. They still don't have their players there, so you don't know what the Giants are. Uh, ain't even nothing to talk about with their game.
I mean, it's always tough to go from the West Coast to the East Coast and play a 1 o'clock game. And when you consider, you know, even with the extra hour, still, they're on that West Coast clock. So 1 o'clock, still morning time for them,
Hmm.
man. So sometimes it takes a little time to get going. But hey, all credit to the Giants, man. Um, in a game that just was very lackluster um, for the Panthers. The Patriots go down there and they win 24-6. Panthers fall to 4-5. And the Panthers in the offseason will have decisions to make, man. Sam Darnold was terrible today. Terrible. Terrible. Sam Darnold was 16 of 33 for 172 and 3 interceptions. Matt Rule
I don't
may have to
I
start
don't know what
Sam
happened
Darnold
with him.
next week.
I don't know what happened with Sam. I think Sam started out good and he struggled and he just got worse the last 3 4 games. They're a strange team. Matt Rule, the ownership down there is really giving Matt Rule a lot of leeway. Last year he drafted all them defensive players, and even this year they done picked up. They probably got the most talented secondary if they all was to get healthy in the league. It's just they just for some reason can't produce no consistency on offense from the quarterback position, which is interesting because they gave up Teddy um, for Sam. So now he might be right back in there quarterback hunting again.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know that you can go with him going forward. Big surprise today. Big surprise. Other than the Cowboys getting mollywopped, you have Buffalo losing to Jacksonville 9-6. Not the best day for Josh Allen today. He struggled holding on to the ball. Threw for 264, but he had 2 interceptions. He also lost a fumble. Um, yeah. So
I mean,
just
I think they sometimes slogans um lose what they really mean in life, and the slogan "Any Given Sunday" became a movie,
yeah,
and I think that most people don't really understand what any given Sunday means. Any given Sunday means on any given Sunday you can get your ass kicked in that NFL, and we see it. No matter who it is, we've had one team in the history of the league that never won a game.
never lost.
I mean, never won.
What you mean?
That never won a game. So I'll
Oh,
just say with any, I'm just saying with that is there's always been some bad teams
yeah,
that beat good teams throughout the years.
yeah.
So Buffalo got big high aspirations. Quarterback is MVP candidate. I mean, sometimes you just got to take the loss with a grain of salt and just realize somebody had your number today, and
Yeah,
Jacksonville just happened to add their number.
just an ugly game. But speaking of what I think was the game of the day, it turned out to be the game of the day, but it didn't start off that way. But the Baltimore Ravens, proved what good teams do. You just find a way to win, even when you're not at your best. Um, they beat Minnesota. They now move to 6-2. Minnesota moves to 3-5. And one of my favorite people in NFL, Mike Zimmer, may be looking for a coordinator job next year.
It's it's over for Zim. I know that's one of me and your guys, but it's time for that organization to move on. Um, Zim took them as far as they can go. They had the miracle in Minnesota, and then they couldn't beat Philly on that Sunday afternoon game in Philadelphia. It's just time for them to move on. They give up too many big leads, and it's time. So, how your Knicks doing, Dwayne?
They're getting their butts beat, man. We don't even want to talk about that. Not my day, man. Only good thing this weekend was the Union Fighting Farmers won in the first round of the playoffs.
Okay.
So on to the next round. But another very interesting game in the 4 o'clock window. The Los Angeles Charger beats the Philadelphia Eagles 27-24. It was a really exciting game. Justin Herbert didn't make any mistakes this week. 32 or 38 for 356 and 2 touchdowns. Very solid performance. Philly's gonna have to use one of their 3 draft picks on a quarterback. Jalen Hurts is not the answer. They're running the game to not lose games instead of to win them. He was 11-17 today for 162. He had 10 carries for 62 yards. But that's just not a recipe to win in this league. So they fall to 3-6. Chargers 5-3. Big win for the Chargers because they did what the Las Vegas Raiders couldn't do. Come from the West Coast to the East Coast, 1 o'clock game, and squeak out the victory 27-24.
Nothing else I could say. I can't even add to that. Chargers needed that win. Chargers have been looking shaky the last 3 weeks. Big win for what they're trying to do with their program. Eagles just assume a position in the basement of the division that you're in. Be thankful you have 3 picks going into the top 10, top 12 picks next year. So you have draft capital. You basically Dwayne and myself every year when we do the draft. You want to be one of the teams that could control the draft, and you are one of those teams as of right now with those 3 picks. And just get ready for draft for quarterback and start anew.
So another 4 o'clock game. Hey man, if we give the Cowboys credit last week for going into Minnesota with Cooper Rush winning, you gotta give just as much credit to Colt McCoy and Arizona Cardinals going into Levi Stadium and putting a whooping on the 49ers, man. 31-17. Colt McCoy 22 of 26, 249 and 1 touchdown. Very strong running game, 163 yards on the ground, led by 96 from James Conner. And the 49ers just, I don't know where they are right now.
I'm gonna ask you a question, Dwayne. I mean,
They may be at a crossroads.
I think they're at a crossroads. I think they need to question Shanahan. I think it's time. I think that a lot of these wonder play callers who do these good play callers have gotten so much credit that they need to start being criticized. I think that the 49er organization, and don't get me wrong, I understand why they went and got Trey Lance. But sometimes in your organization, when you go get players, you think that the player that he's going to eventually take position is the player that's going to be disgruntled. The organization just is off right now. They've been off all year. They just don't seem like they just don't seem like they're mixing. Not enough chemistry. Um, I know a lot of the 49er fans were questioning the play calling. I mean, what do you expect? They have no oomph to their plays, to
No,
their players. So
there's no imagination
huge
at
win
all.
for Cliff Kingsbury. Not a big Cliff Kingsbury fan myself, but huge win for that organization to win without the quarterback, bounce back and get a W. Um, he's showing that it's not about just throwing that football all over the field when you can run the football. Colt McCoy, man, he does it again. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, he
Does it
runs
again.
and he wins.
Winning is just remember, folks. Colt McCoy is the winningest college football quarterback in history,
Yeah,
and
a
he's
lot of
still
people don't
winning in
know
the
that.
NFL.
A lot of people don't know that. He had a very good career at Texas, Um, last game of the day. Well, not the last game of the day. Last game of the 4 o'clock hour. Kansas City wins a stinker. This was not a well played game. You kind of figured that with Aaron Rodgers not playing and Jordan Love playing quarterback. But as we've seen in this league this year, backup quarterbacks have gone into games and won, so you can't use that as an excuse. Jordan Love, 19 of 34 for 190 and one touchdown. They rushed for 122 yards as well. They had missed field goals. They had blocked field goals. A lot went wrong for the Packers today. It wasn't all on the young quarterback. And something's amiss with this Kansas City Chiefs team. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something amiss right there. Patrick Mahomes, 20 of 37, 166. No running game to speak of. The defense struggles, but I mean, they held a darn near rookie quarterback. He's not a rookie, but his first pro start. And 13-7. And so Kansas City moves to 5-4, and Green Bay falls to 7-2.
I don't have much to say about that game. I just Aaron selfish Rodgers, what he did this week was kind of selfish. Um, Regardless if you're unvaccinated, your team and your organization and your friends on your team, the squad and whatever, they should know your status just in case anything like this happened. They all got caught off guard,
Right.
and to know that you were basically lied. I think that was very unselfish, and those are the type of things that people could say. Aaron Rodgers is one of the great leaders, but these are the type of things that throw teams off. Because at the end of the day, forget that forget that Aaron Rodgers jeopardized these guys personally. He jeopardized their families as well by being
Absolutely.
by being unvaccinated and not letting them know and make the decision and being at Halloween parties without masks. As far as the Chiefs needed to win. Something's wrong with the Chiefs, and it's funny because I kind of know what it is. It's Andy Reid, and if Andy Reid doesn't have he needs a running game. He's still bad clock poor management, and he knows that his quarterback and offensive line is struggling, but he still never wants to make the adjustments.
Right.
So hopefully they continue to struggle, but it's just amazing with the Chiefs.
Yeah, it is.
You know, everybody thought the Chiefs was the next great dynasty, and that window went quick, man.
Yeah.
That window went quick because you can't change. You can't. The Chiefs might could win some games going forward, and might be a threat if they can get in the playoffs, but you can't fix what's going on with them.
No. And just a heads up for everybody that will tune in for tonight's Tennessee hosting the Los Angeles Rams. Um, no Von Miller, inactive tonight. Will not be playing. So their new shiny addition to the Sean McVay luxury yacht, the hero of the NFL, Sean McVay, will be missing a new toy, so to speak.
With that, I have nothing else to say. Um, go. Who the Rams play tonight?
Go Titans
Go Titans. I expect Adrian Peterson
all
to do what
day,
he does all day. AP
all
to
day.
gallop all around the field. Now, honestly, I expect a good game. I know that Tennessee does show up 99% of the time unless they're playing the Jets. So
And
we'll see.
memo before this is my last word on week 9. Speaking of Gallup, memo to Michael Gallup. Get your ass back on the field.
With that, we're gonna close the show. Um, I can't even say anything else. What Dwayne said, he said it perfectly. Um, Guys are second and third string for a reason. MG, we need you back,
We
man.
need you, man.
What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for? But am I allowed? No, I can't do it. It's not approved. But my hype man this year, Little Aiden Diggs, he said believe in yourself, right? But there's a video circulating of Little Aiden Diggs on Twitter, okay? This night, and the last time we lost, Little Aiden Diggs had a message to the Cowboys and Cowboys Nation. This one's over. Good luck next week.
And with that, we're going to close the show.